We're joined by Drew Shprintz from Top Shot, and let's take a look at this clip.
Drew, I'm sorry I got to say this, but you have fired your last shot. You have been eliminated from Top Shot. I'll give you a moment to say goodbye to these guys before you head out.
Okay, take it to him. Looking back on it now, it's the more I rushed, I just started pulling those shots a little bit low right.
All right. Sorry. I'll see you back in Florida, buddy. See you back there. See you in Florida, man.
Take it easy, Drew.
Good luck, guys. Take it to him.
Thanks, Drew.
Top Shot is the most unique and outrageous marksmanship competition in history. Learned some interesting things from a lot of different people in the house, probably made some lifelong friends, and it was a great experience.
All right, Drew, we just saw what happened there on Top Shot, and give us your thoughts, your reaction to that moment. Kind of fill in some of the blanks there. What happened?
I don't know if anyone has ever shot against a shooter of Cliff's caliber.
He was good. Oh, my Lord.
Cliff's unbelievable, especially when it's something as simple as here are steel targets, hit them in a sequence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's taking anything away from him, but that's what he does.
When you say to hit targets in a sequence, too, the challenge, for people who didn't see it, it was like this Rube Goldberg type contraption.
You know what
with
the challenge reminds?
Yeah, go ahead.
The challenge reminded me of the original Donkey Kong. Remember the original Donkey Kong?
Exact. Oh, my God, that's even better description. Absolutely, Drew. Exactly. It was the barrels coming down, and Mario was trying to hit the barrels, but you guys were trying to shoot at the target. You would shoot at a target with the Glock 34 that would close a gate that would continue the cannonball rolling.
Right.
It was the craziest thing ever. I don't know how these Top Shot, these guys must get together in a room and just think of the most evil ways to screw you guys.
Well, here's the thing. As someone, as actually having done it looks really cool.
Right.
But in truth, it's not as hard. It's not a complex thing. There's a lot of things going on which you could call distracting. But in truth, you had 5 targets, and there were 5 steel plates, and you had 8 seconds to each of them every time. If you missed one, you lost a point effectively. Mm-hmm. And you're dealing with something where I don't shoot steel in my daily life. I don't. That's very, very far from the normal shooting that I do. Whereas Cliff, that's what he does. Mm-hmm. He's a steel shooting champion.
Yeah, and how much, Drew, how much of a factor is that where your disciplines, what you guys know, you're all from different, diverse backgrounds, how much does that play into how it affects how you guys do with the challenges?
I think it depends on the challenge and the individual. One thing that most people don't know is this is my first shooting competition ever, of any type. I've never shot in a small steel challenge or IPSC or IDPA. I've never shot in any kind of shooting competition in my life. So
why did you make this your first one then, Drew, so the entire country could see? That's pretty ballsy.
It's kind of funny. I didn't think there was a shot in hell that I was going to get selected.
Right.
And the CEO of the instructional company that I work for told all of the instructors that we had to do it.
Oh.
And I sent mine in almost like a goof. Because I'm like, there's no way they're going to pick me.
So it's his fault that you got on.
No, it's not his fault. I mean, I could have always said no and lied, but, I don't blame anybody else. I mean, it was fun. It was an interesting experience.
So let's talk about the experience. How big, of a deal is this to you? Give us a scope, because this show is huge. I mean, we talk about this on and off the air about Top Shot being on history, about going beyond where your typical shooting shows are, and just opening up a lot of people's eyes to the shooting sports like this and competitive shooting. How big is it to you?
I did used to watch the show. I didn't really watch too much of season 2, to be honest. I saw all of season 1. I really followed season 1. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. It was an interesting thing to do. I'm a big believer that you should try and do as much as you possibly can in your life. You never know when you're going to die. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, so you should live every opportunity for what it's worth. And that's what this kind of was to me. I'm not somebody that has career-minded becoming an actor. So how many opportunities am I going to have to really be on TV? How many opportunities am I going to have to be interviewed on a nationwide radio show? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was an opportunity. You know, one of the things that they said to me during my interview process is, why do you want to do this? And I said, I want to see what you guys give me to do. I want to see what the challenges are. As weird as this might sound, I'm almost more upset that I didn't get to compete in all the other challenges than I am about getting knocked out, if that makes sense.
Of course it makes sense. Those challenges look fun. I mean, they look impossible, but they look fun.
I mean, you know what? Outside of being in the military, how many times are you going to be in freezingly cold weather, and it snowed the night of the AK challenge, just so everybody knows that it snowed that night, jumping into the water?
No.
Outside the military, how many times in your life are you going to do that?
Right.
And they get to run and dive and shoot something.
You and the Navy SEALs.
Yeah, I mean, unless you join the military, it's not an experience you're going to ever get to have. And in the military, there's the drawbacks of the people trying to kill you, probably.
Hey, Drew, we had an internal discussion yesterday. We had a guest on, regulars, named Seton Motley. He contends that shooting is not a sport, and when it's an activity or a game. And of course, you know, the NRA News listeners and viewers were not too thrilled with that. What do you say to that statement that shooting is not a sport?
I think that it would come down to what your definition of a sport is.
Okay, what's yours?
To me, shooting has every element of a sport. It involves skill. It involves physical activity. To be good at, you have to practice and train. What other elements are there to being a sport? It's one of the oldest shooting sports it's one of the oldest sports, in my opinion. It's been around for longer than most of the traditional sports that people call them now. But, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that people call sports that I wouldn't call sports. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things that, you know, in truth, I think that shooting, if you look at a sport as a physical-based activity that involves skill, especially shooting at the level of a top shot or something where there's a lot of physical movement involved, how are you not going to call that a sport?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I agree.
All right, last question, Drew. On your official History Channel bio, not only are you a brash South Florida marksman, which I'm sure you love, you are also a firearms instructor / bartender. Which is more dangerous?
Well, that's a great question. That's a really good question. Let me think about that one. On the firearms instructor side, I'm dealing with people with guns. But I also have a gun, and I can shoot back.
Right.
And in general, I'm a better shooter than the other people out there.
Yes.
On the bartender side, there shouldn't be guns, but I definitely don't have a gun. So I'd probably go, I think being a bartender might be more dangerous than being a firearms instructor.
They don't let you carry at work?
They don't let me carry at work. And not just that, even if they said it was okay, I don't know if I'd want to. You have too many people that are bumping into each other, banging this and that. I'm not a real big fan of deep concealment.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of ankle holsters or anything on those lines.
Right.
So unless you're going to carry in that level, it's in a lot of ways a liability. You get 7 people you get a brawl, which luckily I don't work at a place that really has brawls, and
right.
If there is, I'm not getting involved. I'm going to stay behind my bar and watch.
Right.
To be honest, it's got nothing to do with me.
Right.
We have, there's.
It's not your problem.
Exactly. I mean, there's hosts for that reason.
Right.
But if for some reason, if I'm out on the floor managing or whatever, and there is an issue, we all know that once you get real close and personal, a gun can be as much of a disadvantage as it can be an advantage, especially in a dark environment. If you got 5 or 6 people all jumping around tumbling, you're dealing with a very uncontrolled situation. And I personally don't want to be the person that's responsible for making that situation into a struggle over a gun and turning into a life or death situation.
Drew, well, good work there on Top Shot. Hey, is there a drink called a Top Shot? Have you made that yet?
That's a good idea.
There's not, but you know what? That might be something that I go do tonight.
You should do
I
that.
get to work tonight and start playing around with liquor until I can come up with the official Top Shot shot.
That's
I have to get
that's
History
perfect.
Channel to license it.
The Top Shot.
License it. Take it to keep it to yourself, Drew.
Yeah, there you go. You earned it, my friend. You earned it.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, Drew. Thanks.
Drew Shprintz, thank you so much for being on NRA News.
My pleasure. Have a great day, guys.